I'm a Sagittarius man, right? As a man, it's my birthday. I have to understand what is the cause and effect of some shit.
If you wanted the gang, you should have just asked for it.
Back to Saweetie, I think he was definitely talking about my.
And by the way, I've talked to them. Yo, Offset done fuck. What is it? Saweetie, Krishan Rock, Ari. Like, yo, this is, yo, Offset was piping out chicks that Cardi was supposed to do music with.
Looks like somebody really got left off bad and bougie because Quavo and Offset might be locked in drama all over again. And this time, the internet swears it's done with no way back. The official story is simple. Offset hit Joe Budden's podcast talking about lies, growth, and how actions bring consequences.
None that I left went up, so I don't know how to experience. I don't know.
But the unofficial story? People say he basically sent a subliminal shot up the block, and the dots connect right back to the icy ex of his own cousin, Saweetie. The second that clip dropped, fans turned into detectives. Old interviews resurfaced, shady lyrics got replayed, and messy receipts started popping up everywhere. Now people are whispering that maybe this betrayal was the one cut deep enough to break Migos apart for good. And here's the wild part. These weren't just label mates or homies, they were family, blood ties. You'd think there'd be some unspoken line no one would cross, but if the rumors are right, Offset stomped all over it. And Quavo? Word on the street is he didn't just sit back, he made moves of his own. If that's the case, we're staring down a brand new chapter in the Migos Cold War, and it could get real ugly, real quick. Offset might have walked into that Joe Budden sit-down calm and collected, rocking that unbothered vibe like a diamond chain. But the second the conversation flipped to heartbreak, loyalty, and cheating, his cool started slipping and everybody watching felt the tension crack through the screen. Offset started dropping gems so heavy the streets had no choice but to perk their ears up. The way he was talking, it sounded like he knew exactly why Cardi's been spotted with Stefon Diggs, because he's done her dirty more times than people online can even keep track of.
You will see a situation 6 months after a situation. You see what I'm saying? You'll see some shit. Because it's outside, I'm in a public situation, so you're gonna see it when you see it, and then your opinion come then.
And of course, Joe Budden wasn't gonna let that slide. He came in swinging with some of the messiest receipts of all time. Joe straight up reminded everybody that Offset's roster was long, and not just a little long either. Names like Yessie, Chrissy Rock, and Ari popped right up like a messy highlight reel. The way it played out, Offset didn't really deny a thing. He just let the silence hang heavy in the air, letting everybody connect the dots for themselves. It was that sly wink-wink kind of energy, like saying it all without ever actually saying it. And by the time Joe wrapped things up, it didn't even feel like an interview anymore. It felt like a confessional booth moment, but without the priest. Offset kept everything vague, never flat out confirming, but never shutting anything down either. And that's exactly what kept the streets buzzing. Offset made it crystal clear. If the rumor mill wants to spin, he's not gonna hit the brakes. And that's when the streets started buzzing with even bigger questions. If Offset's dropping clues and letting people read between the lines on camera, how close are we to Quavo stepping in off camera? Because let's be real, Quavo's split with Saweetie wasn't just a breakup. It played out like a full-on reality show minus the official cameras. We're talking elevator scuffles caught on TMZ, the infamous Bentley repo, and subtweets sharp enough to cut glass. The whole saga had people glued like it was a Netflix season dropping live. By late 2022, Quavo wasn't just tossing shade anymore, he was unloading the whole frosty tree on her name. Remember that messy track with Takeoff? Yeah, it wasn't exactly subtle. The bar went, I said, Kasha, please, cause she too messy. Please of my dog behind my back, but I ain't stressing. Not at all. You went the gang, you should have just said it. We would have blessed it, should have just said it. The moment that lyric dropped, the internet turned into a full-blown investigation lab. TikTok threads, YouTube breakdowns, Reddit theories, everywhere you looked, people were playing detective, and all the arrows, they pointed straight at Offset. That line, should have just said it, had fans connecting dots faster than CSI, convinced there was way more to the story than anyone admitted. So here's the thing. When Quavo dropped that bar about the gang, fans caught on quick. Gang wasn't just some random word, it meant Migos. It meant family. Suddenly, the whole picture snapped into place. Tension was already sitting heavy on the group's shoulders. Quavo and Takeoff had slid off doing their own thing. Offset was in his own lane, and that one verse explained more about the Migos breakup than any press release ever could. Because if the dog really was Offset and the gang really was Migos, then this wasn't just messy, it was betrayal on a level you don't fix with a couple of diss tracks. This was family business crumbling in front of everybody. And remember, Offset and Quavo weren't just rap partners, they're cousins. Add Saweetie into the mix, past or present, without the family blessing? That rumor alone hit at the heart of the brotherhood. So when whispers started floating that Saweetie and Offset might have linked, it wasn't just gossip, it was seen as a direct shot at the Migos bond. But here's where things went from messy to explosive. Before the breakup even went public, TMZ dropped that bombshell elevator footage out of North Hollywood. The clip was disturbing, ending with Quavo walking off while Saweetie was left on the ground, clearly shaken.
In a recent video released by TMZ, the rappers are involved in a full-on physical scuffle while on an elevator. The surveillance footage was caught on camera at an apartment complex in North Hollywood.
Not long after, Saweetie took to Twitter with a statement that shook the timeline. "I'm single. I've endured too much betrayal and hurt behind the scenes for a false narrative to be circulating that degrades my character. Presents don't band-aid scars. And the love isn't real when the intimacy is given to other women." And instead of offering an apology, Quavo fired right back. He tweeted, "I had love for you and disappointed you did all that. You were not the woman I thought you were. I wish you nothing but the best." That's when cheating rumors started spiraling out of control.
You wanted the gang, you should have just asked for it.
Back to Saweetie, I think he was definitely talking about my said he say on the song, "Big fuck cousin." Gang is referring to Migos, like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Somebody in the gang.
Then came the grenade. Celebrity stylist Khalil, better known as X, fired off a tweet that shut the streets down. Offset, "Do you really want to discuss husbands?" That was aimed straight at Cardi B, who had been defending her man after he got caught up in weed and gun charges. And just like that, the mess went from bad to legendary. The internet instantly started side-eyeing like, "Girl, who exactly are you defending?" Quavo might not have confirmed anything directly, but his bar was loud enough to sound like the real reason behind the split. Fans even started quoting his own raps about loyalty, the same loyalty that many believe was left bleeding out that elevator night. But here's where it got even crazier. Just when everyone thought the tension between Quavo and Offset couldn't get any deeper, the 2023 Grammys blew the roof off. Sources say that right before Quavo hit the stage to perform Without You for the In Memoriam tribute to Takeoff, he and Offset got into a full-on fight backstage. Word is it got physical fast. Security and staff had to pull them apart. And yes, there's a short clip online showing both men being calmed down right after. Allegedly, Quavo refused to let Offset join him on stage for the tribute, and that's when the whole thing exploded. Some insiders swear Quavo started it, but Offset clapped back hours later on X posting, "What the F I look like fighting my brother? Y'all crazy." Fans weren't buying it though. Many pointed out that at Takeoff's funeral months earlier, the cousins never once looked at each other, never spoke, not even a nod, despite both giving emotional speeches. Someone even tweeted, "Get your money and stay out of the way, bruh. Karma will do justice." The hope had been that Takeoff's tragic passing would end the feud, but instead it only exposed how deep the cracks really went. If even grief couldn't unite them, then maybe this was never just about music. It was about something far more personal. And when Offset's alleged roster rumors started swirling again, everyone braced for Cardi B to come swinging hard in his defense. But what she did next shocked everybody. Cardi went radio silent, and that silence had everybody suspicious. Fans were convinced she was dodging for a reason. It wasn't until her sit-down with Jason Lee that she finally brushed against the elephant in the room. But even then, she refused to confirm, refused to deny, just sat cool with that chess move silence that only fueled the rumors even more. People swore she already knew the truth, but wasn't about to let the blogs eat it up.
And you know that I was finding out that truth in and out. So it's like, if I entertain something that I know is not true on the internet, people be like, "Oh, it is true because you're addressing it."
Behind the scenes, things were messy, but Cardi wasn't trying to drag her private pain into the spotlight.
Keep going longer and longer and longer. And at the end of the day, I know what's going on in my house.
Well, and you have no problem picking up a phone and calling to clear the air. But that's why I love that. That's the growth.
Then came the Oscars after parties, and that's when the tea really spilled. At the Vanity Fair event, Saweetie had a very public run-in. And according to an eyewitness, Cardi marched right over and started snapping, "What you got to say now?" The source said it was loud, messy, and straight up ghetto energy. But Saweetie, she didn't flinch. She didn't raise her voice either. She kept her icy demeanor on full display, choosing class over chaos. Still, she wasn't backing down. She stood firm while Cardi made the scene. Witnesses claimed it looked like Cardi was making a fool out of herself yelling while Saweetie played it cool.
If me and Mel are together and I cheat on her and I go get
some
or
and then I end up with
somebody that's
Idris.
Later, Cardi hopped on IG Live, arguing with someone over the phone, adding even more fuel to the gossip fire.
You know me. I don't play that. But I'll call you later because I'm on live. I'll tell you all the Tiana later. Bye.
And almost like clockwork, Saweetie popped up on her own IG Live, flashing millions of dollars worth of jewelry like a quiet clapback. To fans, it was confirmation without confirmation. Neither woman said the words, but the message was loud. Cardi gave the internet something to chew on, and Saweetie countered with her own power move online. In a beef this layered, sometimes silence cuts louder than any diss track. Let's circle back to Quavo, and how Saweetie's whole image took a dive once those first messy rumors hit the net. When she was with Quavo, Saweetie was hip-hop's frosty princess. She had the McDonald's collab, the Crocs deal, the big brand campaigns. Endorsement money was pouring in non-stop.
On that video game, she had the Crocs deal, she had the McDonald's deal, she had hella deals just coming back to back to back. She had the Bratz thing, she had her own cartoon.
But post-breakup, the headlines started sounding real different. First came the Get Your Lick Back era. Paparazzi snapped her with Lil Baby, social media started buzzing, and Quavo's camp saw it as straight disrespect. Fans called it city girl energy, but the streets gave it a harsher name. Then Chris Brown jumped in the mess, dropping bars hinting at their alleged fling while she was still with Quavo. His track cut deep. "You the weakest link out your clique. You F my ex, but that's cool. I don't care cause he was your ex when you was still with her. They say revenge is sweet, now think about that." Saweetie didn't deny a thing. And when Quavo fired back on Over O's and B's, she was quick to blast DMs and throw shots of her own. But the drama didn't stop there. A blind item claimed she allegedly put hands on Quavo's baby mama, Erica Fontaine, after finding out he quietly had a child with her. That rumor hit the blogs after the internet had already dragged her name through Offset drama. And now Lil Baby, Chris Brown, and Erica Fontaine were all in the mix too. One thing became crystal clear. Every move Saweetie made kept her name spinning right back into the orbit of Quavo and Offset. Whether she liked it or not, her post-Quavo chapter was never fully her own. But here's the kicker. The real plot isn't Saweetie's roller coaster. The story setting blogs on fire right now is the war between the cousins. Because after months of icy silence, Offset's new Joe Budden interview just ripped the Band-Aid off every old wound. The way Offset was talking, it wasn't just about Stefon Diggs or some cause and effect lesson about old history. It sounded personal.
You have to deal with it in real time when you're looking at it. How do you deal with that? You just like, I'm a
human being. You see me say some sometimes. Yeah. You know what I mean? But then I just had to realize it is what it is.
No.
Even DJ Academics chimed in about the podcast, hinting that Offset was dropping truths only insiders would fully catch. Now picture this. Quavo catching Offset backstage somewhere, still heated, no cameras, no Grammys producers, no one to break it up, just closed doors, a few sharp words, and hands flying before security even realizes who's in the middle of it. Because at this point, it's not just a verse, not just a rumor, it's years of unspoken disrespect boiling over. A brotherhood that once shined diamond bright now cracked into dust, all while Saweetie's name still lingers as the grenade in the middle. A full Migos reunion? Let's be real. It would take nothing short of a miracle right now. The Cold War is cemented, and with both cousins refusing to clear the air, the streets are left to connect the pieces themselves.
We want to see our career as a duo. You know what I'm saying?
So
we just stand on loyalty. You know what I mean? We stand on real deal loyalty. And, you know, sometimes that shit ain't displayed. And this ain't got nothing to do with no label, no paperwork, no QC, no nothing.
But what do you think? Did Offset just poke the bear with that interview? Or is Quavo holding a grudge he'll never let go of? And if this feud really traces back to Saweetie, was she ever truly the reason or just the spark that lit it all up? Two best friends turned cousins at war, one icy ex caught in the crossfire, and a fan base that may never see the full Migos together again. Make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe, because I want to know what you think about this saga. And trust me, the way these stories keep unfolding, we'll have even more tea to spill real soon. See you on the next one.